Hi, I'm Dr. Douglas Street. I'm a medical doctor, and this video is going to be looking at how you can prevent blood sugar spikes. And this is especially important for persons who have diabetes, especially those persons who are working towards diabetes remission. Now, first of all, why is this such a big deal? Now, blood sugar spikes can worsen your diabetes. Over time, your diabetes will become more difficult to control. So whereas maybe there was a time when you used to be able to manage your diabetes with that alone, you may actually progress to require medications and require more and more medications to control your diabetes. So having your blood sugar spikes on a regular basis can actually worsen your diabetes. The next thing is that, especially for persons who are working towards remission, it's going to make your remission more difficult when you keep on having these blood sugar spikes. And the other issue that you can have is there is a greater risk of developing complications of diabetes when your blood sugar keeps on spiking. Now, these include things like blindness, things like heart disease, amputations, and renal failure. So preventing these blood sugar spikes is critical in having overall better health. Now, the first strategy that you can use to reduce your blood sugar spikes is by reducing your caloric intake. And this is mainly in the area of your carbohydrates. So what this basically means is that you're going to be reducing the amount of food that you're eating. And so the target that you would normally look for is between 500 to 1500 calories per day. And this is very, very important in preventing your blood sugar from spiking. This will help to improve your chance of achieving remission, and it also reduces the chance of complications. But you'll need to learn how to count your calories, and this is a topic that we'll focus on in an upcoming video. So make sure you stay tuned for that. The next strategy that you can use to reduce your blood sugar spikes is by avoiding artificial sweeteners. And I know that this may sound kind of counterintuitive, but it is important in reducing your blood sugar spikes. The reason that is that artificial sweeteners, they cause certain effects on your colon, specifically the bacteria in your colon, that can cause your diabetes to get worse over time. So it's very important to avoid artificial sweeteners. There are some natural sweeteners which may not have that kind of impact. So these are not so bad, but generally speaking, you want to try to avoid sweetening because it creates that craving that you might have, and you may want to have more and more. So try and avoid the artificial sweeteners, and there are some natural ones that you can consider, and we'll look at those at some point in the future. The next one is what we call strategic food combinations. Now, apart from reducing your calories and changing what you eat, the way that you go about eating, the order in which you have the different components of your food can have an impact on your blood sugar spikes. Now, one of the things that has been found is that if you have water before you eat, it will reduce the amount of food that you feel for. In other words, you start feeling full earlier, and it can encourage you to stop eating earlier. So that will in fact reduce the amount of blood sugar that goes into your system. The next thing is to have your vegetables before you have your carbohydrates. So have your carrots and your lettuce and so on before you have the rest of your meal. And this also can reduce the amount of food that you eat, and also the fiber helps to slow down how quickly the food is absorbed into your system and can also reduce the blood sugar spikes. By having peas and beans, nuts and seeds before the carbohydrates, this can also reduce the pace at which the food is absorbed into your system and can reduce how much your blood sugar goes up to. So that is also important. And by having healthy fats, like as you see here, avocado, and there are others like coconut, which can actually slow down your stomach emptying. And this also can reduce how far up your blood sugar goes. So that's another important strategy. Now, when you're trying to prevent your blood sugar spikes, it's important to be careful about fruits. Now, fruits are generally healthy, but because of the sugar content, you have to be very careful when you are diabetic. So first thing that you want to do where the fruits are concerned is to reduce the amount of fruits that you're having. So don't have more than say about 1.5 to 2 cups of fruits with your breakfast. That will help to reduce the amount of sugar that gets into your system. So restrict the amount of fruits you have. Second thing that you want to do is to be careful about the ones that you actually eat. So there are some fruits that have a high sugar content. Fruits like pineapple that is shown here usually has a high content of sugar. Some of them are not so sweet as others, but if you recognize that the pineapple is sweet, then you try and avoid that particular one. The next thing that you want to do is try to eat the fruits before they are fully ripe. When a food is getting ripe, the sugar content is increasing. So if you have, for example, your banana as it just starts to turn ripe, it is less likely to cause your blood sugar to spike than when it is fully ripe and you have all those black spots on it. That can help to increase your blood sugar, so you want to avoid that type. And also have those fruits which have a higher fiber content. So I would recommend, for example, having an apple over perhaps an orange, because the fiber tends to reduce the amount of sugar that gets into your system, or the speed at which it goes up. So that will prove pretty helpful as well. Now, strategy number 5 in reducing your blood sugar spike is to supplement your fiber intake. Now, fiber you'll find in vegetables and peas and beans, nuts and seeds, and that's an important part of your diet, especially in working towards remission and controlling your diabetes. But apart from the fiber that you get from those sources, you should also add other sources to your meals to improve on your fiber intake, especially what we call soluble fiber, right? Now, some of these sources include flaxseed and chia seed, especially grounded flaxseed. And what we normally recommend is that you have at least 1 tablespoon of grounded flaxseed with your meal, and this can go a far way in reducing how much your blood sugar goes up to. Chia seed is also pretty good. It's best to soak chia seed before you use it. This will help to activate it and allow it to do what you want it to do. Prunes also is a good source of fiber, and even though prunes are sweet, they actually have a lot of fiber and antioxidants, and these can help to actually reduce your blood sugar spikes. Dates also are very good with that, and it can help to reduce the amount of how far your blood sugar goes up to when you eat. Other fiber sources include xanthan gum and guar gum, and these you can have with your meals as well. It does the same thing. And there's also glucomannan, which is another good fiber source which helps to reduce how much your blood sugar goes up to. Now, there's another benefit of having these extra fiber sources. They help to improve your colon health. Specifically, it improves the balance of your intestinal bacteria, and over time, this can reduce inflammation in the body and can improve your diabetes. So these are some of the reasons why you want to supplement your fiber intake when you're working towards remission. Now, everybody knows that exercise is very important for diabetes, but there are certain things about the exercise that can make it more beneficial for you. Now, exercise does a number of things. It actually helps your muscle cells to become more sensitive and more responsive to the sugar that goes into your blood. Now, when muscles contract, they actually use up the blood sugar that has gone into your system. They also release certain substances into your bloodstream that reduce inflammation, and you know inflammation is key for diabetes, so it actually works both ways. So exercise is actually very, very important. And when you exercise, especially after you have eaten, then this can actually use up that sugar that is produced by your food, and it can keep your blood sugar down. Now, the timing in which you do it, you could do it about 30 minutes to 2 hours after you eat. Now, if you have had that heavier meal, then you'd want to wait at least 2 hours. You know that exercise can make you feel uncomfortable after you have eaten, so you have to be careful about the timing of it and how intense it is. If you exercise with a full stomach, then it can cause some amount of discomfort. Also, the time of the day which exercise is also important. What they have found is that the exercise is most beneficial to diabetics when it's done in the evening time. So that is something to also keep in mind. Exercise also improves on your colon health. It helps to again improve the bacteria in your colon, which can reduce inflammation and improve your diabetes over time. Strategy number 7 in reducing your blood sugar spikes is unlocking the benefits of retrogradation. Big word. Let me explain what retrogradation means. Now, if you should cook your food and put it in the fridge overnight to cool down, the next day it will not spike your blood sugar as much as if you had it on the day that it was cooked. Now, the reason for that is that cooking will break down some of the bonds between the molecules of your carbohydrates. And when it is cooled down, some of those bonds will actually reform. So it actually becomes a more complex starch that you're eating as opposed to what you would have had the previous day. Now, when you have these additional bonds forming between the molecules of your food, then it will take a longer time for your body enzymes to break it down. So therefore, it is released more slowly into your bloodstream, and that will reduce how far your blood sugar goes up to after you have it. So I know some people don't like overnight food, but by having your food in this way, it can actually help to improve on your blood sugar control. So you should try have that. Optimal food preparation is another key strategy in preventing your blood sugar from going up too much. Now, there are a number of different aspects to this. Number one, try to get the foods that have a coarser texture. So, for example, if you're getting cornmeal, rather than getting the cornmeal that is very refined, get the coarser texture cornmeal, because these tend to be broken down more slowly, and of course, this will prevent your blood sugar from going up too much. The next thing is to certain foods that you can have raw. For example, some person don't mind having oats that is raw, or as you can see in the picture there here, plantain. If you can have your plantain raw, then it is less likely to spike your blood sugar. Another aspect to it is your cooking time. The longer you cook your food, is the more the bonds break down, is the more it increase your blood sugar. So by just cooking your food just enough, this can actually reduce your blood sugar spike. So even rice, if you can manage to have your rice not too soft, then you find that it will probably spike your blood sugar less. The next thing is the temperature at which you cook. Cooking at lower temperatures, again, reduces how much breakdown actually takes place and reduce your blood sugar. And your cooking method also, cooking methods that involve baking. Baking is a very high temperature cooking. So for example, your sweet potato, when you boil your sweet potato, of course the temperature of cooking is about 100 degrees Fahrenheit. But when you bake it, it's maybe 300 and odd, 500 and odd. Those temperatures break down the fiber in the sweet potato and can cause it to spike your blood sugar even more. So baked sweet potato is not something that you'd want to have when you want to reduce your blood sugar spike. Well, strategy number 9 may sound a bit strange to many of us, but what they've actually found is that vinegar can also slow down the absorption of sugar from your intestines. So by adding some vinegar to your food, either by drinking straight or by adding it to your vegetables, it can reduce how much your blood sugar goes up to. And the usual recommended amount is about 2 tablespoons per meal. Now, vinegar can be a bit on the sour side, so you can actually use apple cider vinegar, and this has been shown to work pretty well. So you can have the apple cider vinegar rather than the regular vinegar, and this can also reduce your blood sugar spike. And last but not least, using helpful supplements. Now, there are a number of supplements that have been shown to help with reducing your blood sugar spikes, and these include berberine, there's chromium, there's cinnamon powder, there's fenugreek, and even magnesium has been shown to reduce your blood sugar spikes when you have it with your meal. So this is another thing that you can incorporate into your eating practices that can help to reduce how much your blood sugar goes up to. Of course, there are different doses for these things, so you have to look up that information, and you can utilize the strategy in reducing your blood sugar spikes. Now, of course, it's important to see the results of what you are doing to see if you're on the right track. So your blood sugar monitoring is going to become very important in assessing your efforts. Now, it helps to track your progress, so it's very, very important. And what they have found is that when you regularly monitor your blood sugar, it actually helps to guide the decisions that you're making. Now, the way that we respond to foods, it varies from one person to the next. So you find that one person may have a particular food, and that food may increase your blood sugar more than another person, the same exact food. So it varies quite a bit actually. So it's important to see what results that you are getting from the foods that you are eating. And this will help you to know what foods to avoid, right? So, and that is why this has to take an individual approach when it comes onto your diet. It's not a one size fit all. It's important to see how your body is reacting. And what they found is that this monitoring can actually help you to keep your blood sugar down, because if you know that a particular food is spiking your blood sugar, then of course you don't want to avoid that food, right? So it's very helpful. And they do have what we call continuous glucose monitoring, where you have very regular checks on your blood sugar. They do have something that you can attach to your arm that can give you a continuous monitoring of your sugar, so you know what is happening, and to make the adjustments accordingly. Now, taking care of your body is not just important for your physical health. It does have an impact on your spiritual health as well. Now, our bodies were created by God, and they ought to be used to glorify His name. So make better choices and glorify God and experience better health. Thank you.